Princess Elara went down to the dungeon every night to visit that Viking gladiator's cell. In the darkness, aside from the sound of chains, no one knew what was happening. The first night they only talked. The second night their hands touched. The third night they were no longer a princess and a slave. But that morning, the Viking's blood on his sword in the arena and the princess's tears in the stands would change everything. In the hottest summer days of 1156, in Thornwick, the greatest kingdom of northern England, blood and entertainment met in the same arena. The great gladiator fights were the most popular entertainment for the nobles. And that day, the arena was more crowded than ever, because that day the undefeated Viking was fighting. In the arena stands, thousands of spectators were cheering. In the highest stand sat the royal family, King Edmund, Queen Margaret, and between them, 24-year-old Princess Elara. Elara's long red hair gleamed in the sun. Her green eyes were fixed on the center of the arena. Her slender but graceful body was striking in her purple silk dress. But something overshadowed her beauty, the stigma of widowhood. 2 years ago, Elara had married Lord Thomas, a young knight. It was a political marriage. There was no love. But Elara did her duty. However, 6 months later, Thomas died in battle. And Elara became a widow at 22. Now she was a pawn in the kingdom's political games. Her father wanted to remarry her, but Elara was resisting, trying to protect her freedom. "Elara," said her father, King Edmund, in a stern voice, "Lord William is watching you. Smile at him." Elara looked at the fat, elderly Lord William on the other side of the stands. The man was at least 50 years old, had 3 children, and was looking for his 4th wife. "Father, Elara began, but her father's gaze silenced her. "Don't argue. This marriage will happen." At that moment the arena gates opened, and in walked a man like a beast. Ragnar Bloodaxe, 2 meters tall, completely muscular body. His bare chest gleamed in the sun, battle scars and Norse tattoos covering his body. His blonde-brown hair reached his shoulders, his beard long and braided. In one hand a huge sword, in the other a shield. But the most impressive thing was his eyes. Blue, ice-cold and without any fear. Ragnar had been captured 3 months ago. During a Viking raid, English troops stormed his ship. His crew was killed, but Ragnar was too valuable. Selling him as a gladiator was more profitable. In his first fight, he killed 3 men. In his second, 5. Now he had been undefeated for 10 matches. And today he would fight alone against 6 men. The crowd was screaming wildly. "Ragnar! Ragnar! Ragnar!" Elara looked at the Viking, and for the first time she saw such raw power in a man. Her husband Thomas had been a gentleman but weak. This Viking was completely different. The arena announcer shouted, "Lords, ladies! Today, the undefeated Viking Ragnar Bloodaxe will fight against the king's champions. 1 man against 6. From the opposite gate entered 6 English warriors, all heavily armored, armed, and professional. Ragnar looked at them and smiled slightly. As if this were just a game, the trumpet sounded. The battle began. The first English knight attacked Ragnar with his sword. Ragnar sidestepped. The sword missed in the air. Then he swung his own sword. 1 movement. The knight's neck was cut. The body fell to the ground. The audience screamed. The second and third knights attacked together. Ragnar repelled one with his shield, cut the other's leg with his sword. The man fell screaming. Ragnar showed no mercy, plunging his sword into his chest. The crowd went wild. Elara watched this savagery. But at the same time she was mesmerized. Every muscle in Ragnar's body, every movement, was pure power and control. He wasn't just killing, he was dancing. The 4th knight attacked from behind, but Ragnar turned and struck his face with the shield. The knight's nose broke, blood spurted. Ragnar plunged his sword into his stomach. The 5th and 6th knights were now afraid. But they couldn't retreat. The arena rules were clear. Either win or die. The two men attacked together. Ragnar waited, turned aside at the last second. The two knights' swords clashed against each other. Ragnar saw the opportunity. With one move, two heads flew. The arena fell silent. Then applause and cheering like an explosion. Ragnar raised his sword into the air, blood dripping. His chest was heaving, sweat and blood covering his body, and at that moment his eyes slid toward the stands, directly into Princess Elara's eyes. That look lasted only a second, but Elara's body shivered. In those eyes there was savagery, but also something more. Intelligence? Pain? Challenge? "Princess," said Sarah, her servant girl beside her. "Are you all right? You're pale." Elara shook her head. "I'm fine, just this savagery." But the truth was more complicated. For the first time, Elara had seen such raw power in a man, and inside her, a forbidden feeling. At that evening's dinner, the royal table was filled with tension. King Edmund was explaining marriage plans with Lord William to his daughter. "Next month the wedding will take place," Edmund said in a definite tone. "Lord William is a rich and powerful ally. This marriage will happen." Elara set her glass down hard on the table. "Father, I'm not merchandise. You cannot sell me." "Not merchandise, a princess," her father replied. "And the duty of princesses is to serve the kingdom." "I married Thomas. I served the kingdom," Elara said, her voice rising. "And what happened? 6 months later, I became a widow. Now you're telling me to marry an old man. Enough!" the king shouted. "This matter is closed. The wedding will happen." Elara rose from the table, trying to hold back tears. "Excuse me," she said, and left the hall. But in the corridor, Chief Advisor Lord Cedric was waiting for her. "Princess," Cedric said in an oily voice. "We need to talk." Elara hated Cedric. This man was a snake who whispered everything into her father's ear, a master of political games. "We have nothing to talk about," Elara said, trying to pass. But Cedric grabbed her arm. "I noticed your looks at that Viking in the arena today. Be careful, Princess. Such looks can lead to dangerous rumors." Elara pulled her arm away. "What rumors?" "A princess taking interest in a slave," Cedric said in a low voice. "That would be a scandal. And scandals can lead to accidents. This was a threat." Elara understood. "I won't get involved in your dirty games," Elara said coldly. "Oh, but you're already involved," Cedric said, smiling. "Because tonight you will go down to that Viking's cell." Elara was surprised. "What? I would never—" "Yes, you will," Cedric said, pulling out a stack of papers. "Because these letters prove you've been having secret meetings with that Viking. If I show them to your father—" The letters must have been fake, but Elara knew her father would believe such evidence. "What do you want?" Elara asked, her voice trembling. "Simple. That Viking will fight Lord William's champions tomorrow. Your job is to poison him tonight. He'll get sick, lose, and die. Simple. Never!" Elara shouted. "I'm not a murderer!" "Then your reputation will die," Cedric said, shrugging. "The choice is yours." And he walked away, putting the fake letters in his pocket. Elara was left alone in the corridor. Her heart was racing. What would she do? Hours later, at midnight, Elara found herself on the dungeon stairs. In her hand was a small lantern, inside not a poison bottle but water and food. "I won't kill him," she whispered to herself. "But I must warn him." The dungeon was cold and dark. Water dripped from the stone walls. As Elara descended deeper, the guards were sleeping, probably Cedric's arrangement. She came to the cell at the very bottom. Behind the iron door, there was a shadow in the darkness. "Who's there?" asked a deep voice. The Scandinavian accent was heavy. I'm Princess Elara," Elara said, her voice trembling. Silence, then the clinking of chains. A figure emerged from the darkness. Ragnar, hands and feet chained but still impressive. His bare chest was covered with wounds and tattoos. There were traces of blood on his face. But his eyes, those ice-blue eyes, were still sharp and fiery. "Princess," Ragnar said with slight surprise. "Dungeons are not places for princesses." "I know," Elara said, "but I came to warn you. Tomorrow they want you to die." Ragnar smiled, but the smile was bitter. "They want me to die every day. This isn't new." "No, this is different," Elara said quickly. "There's a conspiracy. They wanted me to poison you, but I can't." Ragnar looked at Elara carefully. He was silent for a long time. Then he asked, "Why?" "I'm your enemy. A Viking. A slave. Why are you warning me?" Elara didn't know the answer, but she had to say something, because today in the arena I watched you, and you're not just a savage. In your eyes, there's more. Ragnar approached, chains pulling. Now behind the iron bars, they were very close to each other. "Princess," Ragnar said in a low voice, "you're a kind woman, but this world shows no mercy to kind people. Don't try to save me. You'll only endanger yourself." "Maybe I want to endanger myself," Elara said, surprising herself with her courage. "Maybe my whole life has been filled with rules and duties. Maybe for the first time I want to do something wrong." Ragnar's eyes softened. "Aren't you free?" "No," Elara whispered. "I'm a princess, but I've never been free." Ragnar extended his hand through the iron bars. Though in chains, he raised his hand toward Elara's cheek. He didn't touch, just came close. "Freedom," Ragnar said in a soft voice, "is not about not being in a cage. Freedom is being able to make your own choices. You came here tonight. This is your choice. This is freedom." Elara's breath caught. This Viking's words awakened something inside her. "What will happen tomorrow?" she asked. "Tomorrow I'll fight," Ragnar said, "and I'll either win or die. But tonight a princess visited me." "That's enough," Elara smiled, tears in her eyes. I'll be in the arena tomorrow. I'll watch. Then," Ragnar said, his voice deepening, "I'll fight for you." The next day, the arena shed blood again. Ragnar fought against Lord William's 3 champions. He hadn't been poisoned, so he was at full strength. He killed all 3 men. In the stands, Elara shuddered at every blow, every drop of blood. But at the same time she was relieved. Ragnar was alive. Lord Cedric, on the other side of the stands, looked at Elara with fury. The plan hadn't worked. That night, Elara went down to the dungeon again. This time she was bolder. When Ragnar saw her, he smiled. "You came back?" "Yes," Elara said. "And this time I brought you something." From the bag she took out clean cloth pieces, water, and healing ointment. "I must treat your wounds," Elara said. "You can't open the door," Ragnar said. "It's locked." "I got the key," Elara said, showing the guard's key. "He's been drugged. Cedric's work probably, but I can use it." She opened the door and entered. The cell was very narrow. Ragnar was chained but still large, filling the entire space. "Sit," Elara said, commanding. Ragnar smiled but obeyed. Elara crouched beside him. In the lantern's light, she could see Ragnar's body. There were deep wounds on his chest from today's battle. With trembling hands, she dipped the warm water in cloth and began cleaning the wound. "This will hurt," Elara said. "It already hurts," Ragnar said. But when Elara touched, the body tensed. Elara worked gently. Her hands touched Ragnar's warm skin. Every inch of the Viking's skin had tattoos. Intricate Norse designs, runes, mythological figures. "What do these mean?" Elara asked, tracing a rune with her fingers. Ragnar's breath changed. "This," he said, touching a rune on his stomach, "means strength." This, I guess, on his chest, protection. And this, over his heart, loyalty. Elara's fingers stopped there, over his heart. She could feel Ragnar's heartbeat. Your heartbeat is very fast, Elara whispered. Because you're touching me, Ragnar said, his voice hoarse. Elara raised her eyes. Their faces were very close. Ragnar's breath touched her face. I'm just treating your wounds, Elara said. But her voice didn't believe it. No, Ragnar said softly. You're doing more than that. You're giving me hope. Elara's heart was racing. I'm a princess. You're a slave. This is wrong. This is a dungeon, Ragnar said, placing his hand, though in chains, on Elara's hand. Here there's no princess, no slave. Just two people. Fingers touched each other. Elara held her breath. This touch was like electricity. Ragnar, she whispered. Elara, Ragnar said, saying her name for the first time, and at that moment the distance vanished. Lips approached each other, breaths mixed, and a sound was heard above. Footsteps. Elara pulled back in panic. Someone's coming! She quickly gathered herself, locked the door, and disappeared into the darkness, but the warmth of Ragnar's lips was still close to her lips. On the third day, tension was at its peak in the royal palace. Lord Cedric had told King Edmund his suspicions about Elara. The princess goes down to the dungeon at night, Cedric said. The guards saw her. What? The king shouted. Elara, come here. Elara was summoned to her father's room. The king was furious. Cedric was smiling. Is this true? The king asked. Are you going to the dungeon? Elara was prepared. Yes, father, but the reason is not what you think. I'm trying to get information from that Viking. Viking strategies, ship routes, clan information, to help the kingdom. This lie was very well thought out. The king paused. Information? He said suspiciously. Yes, Elara said firmly. He's a warrior. He knows a lot. And if I gain his trust, I can get important information. Cedric jumped in. This is very dangerous. A Viking cannot be trusted. I'm a princess, Elara said coldly. I can take the risk, the king thought. Finally, all right. But guards will wait at the door. And if you feel any danger, you'll come back immediately. Understood? Father, as Elara left the room, she could feel Cedric's angry looks. That night, when Elara went down to the dungeon, Ragnar was already waiting. You saved me, Ragnar said directly. You lied to your father. How did you know? Elara asked. Because if you'd told the truth, you couldn't come here, Ragnar said. Thank you for lying. Elara smiled. She opened the door and entered. This time she was more comfortable. I must check your wounds, she said. Ragnar removed his shirt. Today he had been given a shirt. His bare chest was before Elara again. But this time the treatment seemed like just an excuse. They both knew it. Elara placed her hands on his chest, checking the wounds. But her fingers stayed there longer, wandering over the skin. Elara, Ragnar said, his voice deepening. Yes, she whispered. Why do you really come here? Elara hesitated. Then, gathering her courage, she told the truth. Because in my whole life, I've never felt like this. I had a husband, but there was no love. In the palace, there's everything but no happiness. But with you in the dungeon, in the darkness, for the first time I feel alive. Ragnar's eyes softened. He brought his hand, though in chains, to Elara's hair. You're a beautiful woman, Elara, but your beauty isn't just in your face. It's in your heart, Ragnar, Elara said, tears in her eyes. I'm developing feelings for you. And this is terrible. Because you're a slave, I'm a princess. There can be no future between us. Who says? Ragnar said, smiling. Vikings have a saying, fate favors the brave. If we want to be together, fate will find a way. But how? Elara asked desperately. I don't know, Ragnar said honestly. But I know this. You're my reason to fight. Every morning when I go out to the arena, I think of your face, and I fight to stay alive. Because I know at night you'll come. Elara couldn't hold back any more. She leaned forward and placed her lips on Ragnar's lips. The first kiss was soft and trembling. The second was more passionate. In the third, there was no control left. Ragnar's chains clinked, trying to pull Elara. Elara sat on his lap, hands in his hair, lips locked together. "Elara," Ragnar moaned. You're driving me crazy." "You too," Elara whispered, lips on his neck. Hands wandered, breaths mixed, bodies pressed against each other. In the dark cell, there were only two people, full of desire, forbidden and pure longing. But Elara knew complete union couldn't happen. It was too dangerous. If she became pregnant, it would be a scandal. "Ragnar," Elara said, trying to pull back. We can't go too far." "I know," Ragnar said, but there was disappointment in his eyes. "But this is enough. You being here is enough." Elara leaned against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "One day," she whispered, "one day we'll be free. And then, Ragnar said, smiling, "I'll make you my queen." But happiness didn't last long. Lord Cedric knew Elara was lying, and he changed his plan. On the 5th day, important news came to King Edmund. "Princess Elara is pregnant," Cedric said with a fake report. "What?" the king shouted. The palace physician tested. "The princess is pregnant, and her husband died 2 years ago. This child is from a forbidden relationship." The king was horrified. Who's the father?" "The only explanation," Cedric said, "that Viking. The princess meets with him every night. The guards confirmed it." "No," Elara shouted, running into the room. "This is a lie. I'm not pregnant. This is fake." But the king had believed the fake report. His rage was uncontrollable. You've shamed me," he shouted. "With a Viking? With a slave?" "Father, please listen," Elara pleaded. "No." "Enough." The king turned to the guards. "Lock the princess in her room. She won't leave. And that Viking will die in a special fight tomorrow." "No," Elara screamed. "Please, don't kill him." But the guards dragged her away. Elara was screaming, crying, but no one was listening. Cedric was smiling. His plan had worked. That night, Elara was locked in her room. From the window, she could see preparations in the arena. Tomorrow, there would be a big fight. Ragnar against 10 men. "I must save him," Elara whispered. "But how?" Her servant girl, Sarah, quietly entered. "Princess," Sarah said in a low voice, "I want to help you." "Sarah?" Elara was surprised. "I'm your servant, but also your friend," Sarah said. "And I know there's something between you and that Viking. Something real, but the scandal," Elara said. "Love is never a scandal," Sarah said. "And I'll help you. Tonight, there's a secret passage to the dungeon. I'll show you." At midnight, Sarah took Elara to the dungeon through the secret passage. There were no guards. Cedric had removed them because tomorrow Ragnar would die anyway. Elara ran to Ragnar's cell. The Viking was chained but ready. "Elara," Ragnar said, surprised. "I thought they locked you up." "I escaped," Elara said quickly. "And now you'll escape too." "What?" How Elara showed the keys. "Sarah gave these to me. I'll free you and we'll escape together." "Elara, no," Ragnar said. "If we escape, they'll accuse you. Treason, death penalty." "Then we'll die together," Elara said firmly. "But I can't leave you here to die." Ragnar's eyes softened. You would do this for me? Leave your kingdom, your family, everything?" "Yes," Elara said through tears. "Because being free with you is better than being a prisoner in palaces." Ragnar smiled. "Then no," he said. "What?" Elara was surprised. "I won't escape," Ragnar said. "Tomorrow I'll fight in the arena, and I'll win. But against 10 men, impossible." "Not impossible for you," Ragnar said, taking Elara's face in his palms. "You're my strength. Tomorrow I'll kill those 10 men. And then I'll demand my freedom. Arena rules say, if a gladiator wins 10 matches, he can be free. Tomorrow is my 10th match, but But they won't allow it, Elara said. They'll have to, Ragnar said, because the crowd loves me. And if the king breaks the rules, there will be a riot, Elara thought. Maybe this would work. And then? She asked. And then, Ragnar said, smiling, I'll marry you. Not as a princess, but as a woman. And I'll take you to Scandinavia. There you'll be my queen, Elara cried, but this time they were tears of happiness. Ragnar, I love you. I love you too, Elara, Ragnar said, and pressed his lips to hers. This kiss was different from the previous ones. This wasn't a farewell kiss. This was a promise kiss, hands intertwined, bodies embraced tightly. Elara knew that no matter what happened tomorrow, this night would remain in her memory forever. Ragnar, she whispered, lips on his neck. Tonight, I want to be with you, completely. Ragnar pulled back, looked into her eyes. Elara, if you get pregnant, I don't care, Elara said. If you die tomorrow, at least I'll carry a part of you with me. And if you win, we'll be together. Either way, tonight I'm yours. Ragnar's breathing grew heavy. Are you sure? Yes, Elara said, in a definite voice, and that night in the dark cell 2 people became one. Forbidden but beautiful, dangerous but real. Elara for the first time truly united with a man, not for duty, but for love. Ragnar was gentle but passionate, powerful but merciful. And Elara for the first time learned the true meaning of being a woman. Hours later, Elara's head on Ragnar's chest, both tired and happy. You'll win tomorrow, Elara whispered. I'll win for you, Ragnar said, stroking her hair. And then we'll be free. Yes, then we'll be free. The next day, the arena was more crowded than ever. Thousands of spectators had come to watch the undefeated Vikings' final battle. In the stands, Elara was forced to sit. Beside her was her father, King Edmund, and the sinister Lord Cedric. Today, Cedric said in a low voice, that Viking will die, and you'll never touch him again. Elara didn't respond. She just looked at the arena. The gates opened. Ragnar entered. The crowd applauded wildly. Ragnar! 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 The Viking stood in all his glory. Muscles tense, sword in hand, eyes determined. But for a second he looked at the stands, directly into Elara's eyes. That look was a promise. For you, Elara nodded slightly. I know, the opposite gates opened, and from inside 10 men emerged. But these weren't normal warriors. These were the kingdom's best knights. Heavily armored with swords, axes, spears, the crowd fell silent. This wasn't fair. Ragnar smiled. Should it be fair? He shouted to the arena. I'm a Viking! Justice is just a word for us. The crowd laughed and applauded. The trumpet sounded. The battle began. The first 3 knights attacked together. Ragnar repelled one with his shield, cut the second's leg with his sword, knocked the third to the ground with a kick, but the 4th knight attacked from behind. His spear piercing Ragnar's shoulder, Elara screamed, No! Ragnar, despite the pain, turned and pulled out the spear. Then, throwing the spear, he impaled the 4th knight. The man died. The 5th and 6th knights attacked at the same time. Ragnar was tired, wounded, but wouldn't stop. He danced with the sword. 2 heads flew. The 7th knight attacked with an axe. Ragnar raised his shield. The axe hit the shield and shattered it. The shield was gone now. The 8th and 9th knights surrounded Ragnar from 2 directions. Swords were spinning, blood was flowing. Ragnar killed both men, but his body was full of wounds. Now only the 10th knight remained. And this was Lord William's champion, Sir Blackwood, the kingdom's best warrior. Viking, Blackwood said in a cold voice. You fought well, but now you'll die. Maybe, Ragnar said, breathless. But first you die. The 2 men charged at each other. Swords clashed, sparks flew. Blackwood was fast, but Ragnar was strong. After minutes of fighting, Ragnar caught an opening. He plunged his sword into Blackwood's heart. The last man fell, The arena fell silent. Then applause and cheering like an explosion. Ragnar, wounded but standing, raised his sword into the air. "I am free," he shouted. "According to arena rules, I am free." The crowd agreed. "Free! Free!" "Free!" King Edmund stood up. He was furious but couldn't do anything. "Rules were rules." "Fine," the king said, his voice full of tension. "You're free. But you'll leave English territory immediately." "Accepted," Ragnar said. Then he looked at the stands. "But I have one more request. I want Princess Elara as my wife." The crowd held its breath in shock. The king turned red with fury. "Never! You're a slave. My princess cannot be given to you." "I'm no longer a slave," Ragnar said. "I'm a free man, and I want the princess. If you refuse, you're breaking the rules." And the crowd doesn't like that, the crowd began to murmur. Ragnar was right. Elara stood up. "Father," she said bravely, "I want to go with Ragnar." "What?" the king shouted. "I love him," Elara said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "And I want to marry him. If you don't allow it, I'll run away too." The king had lost control, but Cedric whispered to the king, "If we resist, there could be a riot. Let her go. She brought us shame anyway." The king reluctantly accepted. "Go but never come back," Elara smiled. "Who said I'd want to?" A week later, Elara and Ragnar boarded a small ship. They were going to Scandinavia. Elara had removed her palace dresses, wearing simple but beautiful Viking clothes. Her hair loose, happiness on her face. Ragnar, his wounds beginning to heal but still strong and impressive. "Are you ready?" Ragnar asked as he took the ship out to open sea. "Yes," Elara said, smiling. "I've never been more ready in my life." The ship sailed into the waves. Behind, England remained. Ahead, a new life. That night on the ship's deck under the stars, Ragnar and Elara united again. This time there were no chains, no darkness, no fear. Only freedom, love, and an endless future. 3 weeks later, they arrived at the shores of Norway. Ragnar's clan greeted them with a great feast. Jarl Bjorn, Ragnar's father, welcomed Elara like a daughter. "The woman who saved my son's life," Bjorn said in a booming voice. "You're part of our family." Ragnar's sister Freya immediately befriended Elara. "Here," Freya said one day, "women are strong." "You're strong too, Elara, don't forget that." A month later, a great Viking wedding was held. Hundreds of guests came. Elara wore a white Viking bridal gown, flower crowns in her hair. Ragnar, at the most important moment of the ceremony, held Elara's hands and made this vow. "Elara, you found me in darkness. You gave me hope. You were my reason to fight for life. I swear to you, I will always protect you, always love you, and always be by your side. You are my queen, my star, my everything." Elara also responded, "Ragnar, you taught me freedom. You showed me my strength. Being with you is more valuable than all kingdoms. I swear to you, I will always love you, always support you, and share my life with you." And they kissed, not as their first kiss, but as husband and wife. The crowd applauded, songs were sung, the feast lasted through the night. A year later, Elara became pregnant. The birth was difficult, but finally a healthy baby boy was born. "Bjorn," Ragnar said, taking his son in his arms. "He'll carry my father's name." Little Bjorn had his father's strength, his mother's beauty. Years passed. Elara and Ragnar had 3 children, Bjorn, Freya, and little Eric. All healthy, strong, and happy, Elara adapted to her new life in Scandinavia. She was no longer just a princess. She was a Viking woman, a mother, a wife, and a strong woman who fought her own battles. Ragnar became the new Jarl of the clan, a wise, strong, and just leader. One day, sitting on the shore watching the sunset, Elara asked, "Do you ever regret it?" "I was a princess. I could have brought you kingdoms," Ragnar smiled. "Kingdoms are temporary. But love is eternal. You gave me something more valuable than kingdoms, freedom, love, and a family. What more could I want? Elara leaned against him. I love you too. I love you too, my queen. And the sun set, leaving two people, once enemies, now soulmates, in golden light. This story shows us that true love knows no boundaries. Elara was born a princess, but lived as a warrior. Ragnar was chained as a slave, but loved as a free man. Between them was everything: class difference, cultural difference, enmity. But none of it could silence the voice of the heart. Sometimes life's greatest adventures come from the most forbidden paths. And sometimes, in the darkness of a dungeon, the brightest love is found. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Share in the comments which scene touched you the most. And share this brave love story with your loved ones. True power is found not in the sword, but in the heart. Ragnar and Elara's story is a legend that gives courage to all of us.